Have you ever wondered why, as the years pass, your body feels less like a reliable vessel and more like a mysterious temple with locked doors? Imagine this. The same intricate energy that once fueled your youthful vitality is still within you, waiting, watching, shifting beneath the surface. Yet most of us ignore the subtle messages of the universe pulsing through our bodies, missing out on the spiritual awakening that could transform our later years. Why does the infinite consciousness embed wisdom in our aches, our cravings, our sudden bursts of intuition? Today, you'll discover the astonishing connection between spiritual alignment and physical health after 50. Ancient traditions whisper that the body is not just flesh, but a resonating instrument of the soul, a living altar where energy, intention, and agency converge. Science now echoes these truths, revealing the quantum pathways linking mind, spirit, and cellular vitality. The ordinary world tells you aging is decline. What if it's an invitation? Keep watching to feel the energy shift within you and unlock the hidden gateway to lasting health, radiant wisdom, and a new relationship with your sacred self. This truth could change everything you thought you knew about growing older. Imagine standing before a threshold, one foot in what you've known, the other hesitating before a doorway shimmering with possibility. You sense you are more than a body, more than age, more than biology. But where is the proof? This is where the timeless wisdom of humanity begins to whisper beneath the surface of everyday life, inviting you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about health, vitality, and your own essence, especially now, as you walk the sacred path beyond 50. Many believe the body is simply a vessel, subject to time, subject to decay, destined to falter. But universal truth reveals a deeper mystery. What if your body is not just a means to live, but a living expression of spirit, a temple of consciousness? The ancient Egyptians, thousands of years ago, etched this idea across the stone walls of their temples, declaring, "The body is the house of God. That is why it is said, 'Man, know thyself.'" In India's Upanishads, sages describe the body as pranamaya kosha, the sheath of life energy, where the infinite pulses through every cell. And in Taoist philosophy, the body is the axis mundi, the pivot where heaven and earth converge, a living bridge between spirit and matter. What they all point to is shocking in its simplicity. The body is not a prison of spirit, but its precise instrument. Every ache, every tingling intuition, every moment of lightness or heaviness is an encoded message, singing of wholeness and connection to the larger currents of life. But you might be wondering, if this wisdom is so universal, why has it been forgotten, especially in the modern world? Picture for a moment the ceaseless spiral of daily life, where youth is glorified and aging is seen as diminishment. Many internalize the story that vitality inevitably fades after a certain age, that the body becomes a burden rather than a blessing. Yet when you quietly sit with yourself, when you let the noise fade, a different wisdom emerges. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Reflect on this. Could your cells be echoing the tone of your spirit, not just your circumstances? Let's go deeper. Every spiritual tradition holds that life after midlife is not a decline, but an initiation. In indigenous American ceremonies, elders are honored as wisdom keepers. Their bodies, weathered by time, are revered as living books of spirit's journey. In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, mastery over the body is not about conquering flesh, but aligning body and mind to unleash hidden powers of perception and intuition. The Kabbalists of Judaism see the body as a microcosm of the entire universe, each organ, each breath, a reflection of the boundless within the boundaries of form. You might be sensing a gentle unease, a subtle longing. Have I truly listened to my body as a sacred teacher, or have I neglected its guidance, fearing what I might discover? This discomfort is not a flaw, but a doorway. It's in the cracks where the light of spiritual truth often first glimmers. The Sufi mystic Rumi once said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." What if every sign of aging, each wrinkle, each ache, is an encoded invitation to awaken to something beyond what you've known? This perspective turns the common narrative on its head. Many believe aging is about loss, but what if, instead, these changes unlock new dimensions of consciousness and healing? In Japanese culture, the art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, honoring the cracks as part of the object's story. Can you imagine honoring the lines on your body, the signs of time, as shimmering rivers of wisdom rather than flaws? Let's pause and feel into a living example. Picture yourself in a moment of stillness, perhaps on a quiet morning, alone with the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Can you feel the subtle hum of energy in your chest, the warmth in your palms, the whisper of intuition in your belly? This aliveness, so easy to overlook, has been described by mystics across the ages. "Be still and know," says the psalmist. "Pay attention," echoes the Buddha, "for what you seek is already here." These are not mere words. They are signposts pointing you inward toward an unbroken source of vitality. Now, what happens as you shift from seeing your body as an obstacle to experiencing it as a sacred partner on your spiritual evolution? Imagine treating daily rituals, eating, breathing, walking, even resting, as ceremonies of devotion, each action a prayer to the spirit within. The ancient yogi would say this is tapas, the fire of transformation, ignited not by struggle against the body, but by reverence for its divine intelligence. At this point, you might be asking, how can these ageless principles become real in a world so fixated on youth, commerce, and external appearance? How do you reclaim the sacred dimension in a body that is changing? Here's the secret hidden in open sight. Every moment of awareness is a doorway. The ordinary act of noticing your breath, witnessing sensation, feeling gratitude for your beating heart. These seemingly mundane gestures are the foundation stones upon which sages built entire philosophies of health and longevity. The Chinese master Lao Tzu taught, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished," a radical reminder to realign with your own natural rhythms, to trust the wisdom pulsing beneath your conscious mind. But this reveals something profound about the nature of the body after 50. Its changes are not signs to be feared, but signals guiding you toward greater authenticity, presence, and spiritual depth. The Persian poet Hafiz declared, "I wish I could show you, when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being." Each cell, each heartbeat, pulses with that same luminescent potential. So the paradox emerges. The very aspects of aging that culture asks you to hide are the sacred invitations to deeper awakening, to a new understanding of what it means to be alive, to walk through the world as both matter and mystery. The body is not at odds with spirit. It is the stage upon which spirit plays, learns, grows, and ultimately reveals itself. As you digest this, a new curiosity may be stirring. What ancient traditions intuited about the energy within the body? Can modern insights explain how this force awakens, shifts, and heals? How deep does the river of universal energy flow through the cells and consciousness of those who dare to listen? What you're about to discover in the next part is not just a theory, but a living revelation, a convergence of wisdom that will allow you to feel, perhaps for the first time, the multidimensional power that has always lived within your temple. A power so profound, it could shift your entire relationship to aging, health, and spiritual vitality. Are you ready to open the next door? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine, beneath the surface of your skin, beyond the ordinary pulse of your heart, currents of energy ripple quietly, a river of life connecting every cell, every thought, every intention. What if you are not simply matter in motion, but a living field of consciousness, an energetic symphony orchestrated by forces far subtler than the five senses can perceive? Many believe our bodies are merely the sum of their physical parts, but quantum insight and the echoes of ancient wisdom reveal something astonishing. What you think of as you is a confluence of energy and awareness, woven together in an ongoing dance. This isn't just metaphor. Science and spirituality are beginning to converge on a truth long whispered by mystics. Consciousness is not confined to the brain, it radiates throughout your being, fundamentally shaping your health, vitality, and the unfolding story of your later years. Let's linger with this paradox for a moment. Modern medicine often draws a boundary at the skin, treating the body as a machine to be fixed. But in the luminous texts of Ayurveda, Qigong, and even the newly emerging field of biofield science, illness isn't just a breakdown of parts, it's a disturbance in the flow of life force. The Vedic scriptures call this prana, the Chinese sages call it qi, and today's physicists refer to it as the electromagnetic field, the quantum sea bathing every atom. Imagine your breath as more than air. In this view, every inhale and exhale transmits subtle energy, nourishing not just organs and tissues, but the very fabric of your consciousness. You might be sensing a shimmer of curiosity. Does any of this truly make a difference as you age, as your body changes? The answer is profound. The forests of energy that shaped your youth do not vanish with time. They deepen, becoming richer, more nuanced, a movement from blazing sunlight to the golden glow of autumn. Synchronicities multiply when you attend to them. Intuition sharpens as internal noise softens. As the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh says, the miracle is not to walk on water, but to walk on the earth. What might walking on earth mean when you walk with awareness of the energy you carry? Let's move from idea to experience. Have you ever entered a room and felt a sudden shift, a prickling along the arms, a warmth in your chest, a subtle sense of harmony or discord? Science now proposes what sages have known all along. Our bodies are exquisitely attuned to energy fields. HeartMath Institute has measured how the rhythms of our hearts produce electromagnetic fields detectable several feet away, fields that synchronize with others. Through intention, touch, even shared presence, imagine, with every conscious breath, you are not only changing your chemistry, you are imprinting your environment with your unique frequency. But how does this work practically as you cross the threshold into the second half of life? Many feel their energy diminish, their spark soften, as if the world is dimming. But consciousness, like energy in quantum physics, is never truly lost. It simply transforms. Picture the electron, which exists not as a particle in a place, but as a cloud of possibility, a probability field shaped by observation. What if your attention, the sacred spotlight of consciousness, is the very force collapsing waves of potential into the reality of your body? Pause. Can you sense the wonder of this? The same force that governs stars and galaxies is moving in your veins, influencing the very expression of your DNA. The quantum biologist Bruce Lipton writes, "Your beliefs act like filters on a camera, changing how you see the world, and your biology adapts to those beliefs." These are not philosophical musings. They are direct invitations to awaken to your power as a conscious co-creator. This brings us to a pivotal insight. The way you experience aging is entwined with your relationship to your own energy, your own consciousness. Have you noticed how, when lost in fear or regret, your body contracts, and vitality seems to leak away. Conversely, when gratitude or awe fills your awareness, your body feels lighter, your step surer, your heart more open to the unexpected synchronicities that mark a life aligned with spirit. Let's root these abstract revelations in a living metaphor. Imagine your body as a prism, refracting the one light of universal consciousness into a vibrant rainbow of sensation, thought, and emotion. As the lens of consciousness shifts, so does the pattern of color, sound, and feeling in your experience. The Sufis call this subtle, shifting baraka, or blessing, an invisible grace that moves through every being, especially those who have learned to listen as the years unfold. What does this mean for your health after 50? Simply this: every moment you are both transmitting and receiving frequencies, shaping your physical reality with your conscious attention, your choices, your unseen intentions. You have already experienced it. The quickening of intuition when meeting someone new, the trouble in your gut before an unwanted situation, the waves of peace as you walk in a familiar forest or sit in meditation. These are not coincidences. They are evidence of your body as a living sensor, exquisitely tuned to the cosmic web. It's natural at this point to wonder, can this invisible world of energy actually shift the tangible realities of aging, strength, immunity, vitality, even the passage of time itself? Quantum physics hints that reality is far more plastic than we dare to believe, that the mind is constantly collapsing possibilities into matter. This aligns with the yogic teaching: where attention goes, energy flows. The wisdom traditions tell us that by consciously attending to our bodies, honoring our energy through daily rituals, breathwork, loving movement, and sacred rest, we reclaim the power to transform not just our perceptions, but our biology. Pause again and feel that elegant truth. You are not fated to passively endure the story of aging. You can learn to influence it, co-compose it, shape it with your awareness and intent. It begins with a simple act: turning attention within, awakening to the sensations, waves, and subtle messages your body is sending you. This is the invitation to move from observer to participant, from merely existing to becoming a conscious field of transformation. And in that space, a strange new elegance emerges. The Polynesian elders speak of mana, the vital spiritual energy that deepens with age, earned by living in harmony with self, others, and earth. Chinese Taoists map the flow of qi along meridians, teaching that blocked energy leads to dis-ease, while conscious movement, like Tai Chi or Qigong, restores the body's inner rivers. The world's shamans, from the Andes to Africa, see our life force as the very currency with which we shape reality. These ancient insights are now being mapped by modern physics, medicine, and psychology, as science slowly rediscovers what spirit has always known. If you listen carefully, you'll notice an inner resonance, a memory deeper than words, almost as if your cells recall a time when you were truly at home in your body, radiant within your temple. The spiritual teacher Ram Dass wrote, "The quieter you become, the more you can hear." In the stillness, the energy field that is your true self can begin to speak again, guiding you toward balance, renewal, and profound well-being. But this raises an even deeper question about consciousness and energy. Could it be that the very fabric of your reality, your sensations of time, age, vitality, is responsive, mutable, shaped at the most fundamental level by your beliefs, intentions, and the mysterious connections binding all living things? In the next part, you will witness modern science finally catch up to ancient intuition, as researchers reveal startling evidence that our bodies are more field than flesh, more pattern than product, more possibility than predetermined fate. What you're about to discover will not only shake the foundation of what you thought was real, it might just lead you to the keys that unlock your body's limitless potential, no matter your age. Are you ready to see how science is learning to measure the sacred and how you might become the conscious architect of your own renewal? The revelations to come might change everything, if you're willing to step into the next quantum possibility. You stand on the edge of two worlds. Behind you, the wisdom of the ancients, spoken in temple whispers, sung across Himalayan ridges, painted in symbols by desert firelight. Ahead, the scientific frontier, glowing monitors, DNA helixes spiraling on screens, subatomic marvels glimpsed in beams of light. For so long, these worlds seemed divided by an uncrossable gulf. But what if the frontier and the myth are beginning to merge? Imagine stepping into a laboratory where meditation is mapped by fMRI scanners, where cardiologists measure the magnetic field radiating from the heart, where quantum physicists speak of the observer effect with the reverence of a Zen koan. Here, the most advanced tools of reason are now brushing up against mysteries once reserved for cloistered monks and night sky visionaries. And in this intersection, a new story is emerging, one that may forever change how you understand health, aging, and the true power living within your body temple. Let's begin with the most intimate and mysterious realm inside you, consciousness. Neuroscientists once declared the mind was only an emergent property of brain chemistry, nothing spiritual, nothing magical. But cutting-edge research from institutions like Princeton and Harvard is quietly undoing that certainty. Studies on near-death experiences find consciousness persisting even when EEGs go flat. Meditators, especially those with decades of practice, show brainwave patterns unlike anything previously recorded, bursts of gamma frequency, previously associated with peak creativity and euphoric flow, ripple through their brains with every mindful breath. Buddhist monk Matthieu Ricard, dubbed the happiest man in the world, has shown in laboratory settings that meditation does not just relax the body, it remodels neural networks, fortifies immune response, and thickens the brain regions. Associated with self-awareness and compassion, even after age 50. But ancient wisdom never claimed awareness was confined to the skull. It pulsed through the body, radiated from the heart, soaked into the very air around us. Now, peer-reviewed science echoes what the sages once said, as within, so without. The HeartMath Institute has revealed that the heart produces an electromagnetic field so strong it can affect the nervous systems of people standing several feet away. When you enter a room and sense a mood, before a word is spoken, you are literally reading energy. Dr. Roland McCraty's research uncovers that positive emotions synchronize this energy, promoting coherence in our biology, while chronic stress throws the system into chaos, deteriorating physical health over time. You might wonder, does this field really change with spiritual practice? The evidence grows impossible to ignore. Every time you consciously slow your breath, meditate with gratitude, practice mindful movement, you are not just calming your mind, you are harmonizing your heart's field, broadcast like a radio signal throughout your body and beyond. The Vedic rishis describe this as yoni mudra, a sacred gesture that protects the temple of the heart, influencing not just your thoughts, but the very rhythm of your life force. But the revelations don't stop with physiology. Modern genetics, that fortress of material biology, is being renovated by the arrival of epigenetics, the study of how environment, emotion, and consciousness turn genes on and off. Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn, Nobel laureate, has shown that meditation and social connection increase telomerase, the enzyme that repairs caps on your chromosomes, directly slowing the aging process. What was once mystical metaphor The rejuvenating effect of inner peace is now a biological event measured in molecules. The yogic legend that serenity adds years to your life is being written anew in the language of genomic science. Let your imagination soar for a moment further. The world's sacred traditions often spoke in terms of energy fields and subtle bodies, the aura, the etheric, the spirit body. For centuries, this was dismissed as poetry at best, pseudoscience at worst. But today, research into the biofield, the organizing energy surrounding every living thing, is thriving. Pioneering scientists like Dr. Beverly Rubik have photographed the glow of living tissue using Kirlian photography and measured the electrical potential of healing hands. While skeptics debate, hospitals in the West quietly employ healing touch and Reiki practitioners to soothe trauma patients, lowering pain and anxiety with no chemical at all, just focus, intention, energy witnessed and guided. But perhaps the most dramatic validation comes from quantum biology, where researchers are finding that consciousness is not a passive observer of the body, but an active participant, shaping health at the smallest scales. The double-slit experiment in physics shows that particles behave differently when observed, as if awareness itself helps create reality. At the scale of the body, this principle surfaces in astonishing ways. The placebo effect, often dismissed as all in your head, is now recognized as the mind's power to trigger genuine healing responses, sometimes even when patients know it's a placebo. Consciousness, science admits, can no longer be an afterthought. It's a prime actor in the drama of health. Pause and feel the seismic implications. What if every belief you hold about aging, healing, and what's possible after 50 ripples through your biofield and down to your cells, carving new pathways even now? The Hopi elders tell us, all dreams spin out from the same web. Science is finally learning what shamanic healers always knew. The myth of separation is just that, a myth. Your intentions, your prayers, your vision for your life are not ghosts in the machine. They are the primal notes that tune your entire symphony of being. Let's inhale this integration, living and breathing. Picture yourself adopting as a daily practice, meditating, walking with intention, choosing compassion. Each act is a quantum signal, shaping electromagnetic fields, boosting immune messengers, calming inflammation, and enhancing the deep, wordless intelligence of your body temple. Dr. Joe Dispenza, bridging neuroscience and ancient practice, describes it like tuning a radio. When you change the signal, you change the reality you receive. Even after 50, or perhaps especially after 50, the dial is in your hands. But don't just take it from gurus and researchers. Ordinary people around the world, often those in their 60s, 70s and beyond, are experiencing measurable shifts in health, mindset and energy by returning to these universal practices. Brain scans before and after mindful movement reveal restored connectivity and new growth. Blood samples taken before and after heartfelt meditation show changes almost as dramatic as prescription medication, yet without side effects. The veil is thinning, and those willing to step into conscious presence are becoming pioneers of their own transformation. Yet for all this science and proof, you might sense an even deeper yearning, a question science is only just beginning to approach. Who is it who witnesses the transformation? Where does consciousness truly reside? And if your field is so malleable, so sensitive to inner work and intention, what might happen when you embody not only the knowledge, but the wisdom of your own spiritual evolution? This reveals something profound about the crossroads at which you stand. You are invited not only to understand these principles, but to live them, to embody science and soul as one, to claim the keys your ancestors once carried, now etched not only in sacred texts, but in research journals and your very DNA. But science, finally validating ancient wisdom, is not the last word. It is only the entryway. A far deeper journey awaits, where your inner guidance becomes the compass, where soul purpose and spiritual evolution are no longer abstract ideas, but the living pulse animating every choice, every action, every connection you make. What you're about to uncover in the next part is the secret that lies at the heart of every tradition and every discovery so far, the hidden contracts of your soul, the deeper calling that animates your energy field, and the evolutionary journey waiting to unfold across the second half of your life. To step forward is to answer the call of your deepest self, a call that, once heard, can never be silenced. Are you ready to discover the soul's purpose woven through every cell, every breath, every moment of your lived experience? The next revelation may upend everything you thought was fixed, unlocking sacred codes of transformation that have been patiently waiting just beneath the surface all along. You might have felt it, a profound sense that your journey, especially after the age of 50, is not random, that there is an invisible thread running through your days, weaving moments of joy, loss, courage, and healing into a tapestry uniquely your own. As you stand before the mirror, tracing the stories etched into your skin and bones, a silent question stirs beneath the surface. Is there a deeper purpose to this incarnation? A script carved, not just by biology or circumstance, but by the timeless longing of your soul. Many believe life is a series of accidents, a tumble of days colored by luck or genetics, but universal spiritual insight reveals an astonishing alternative. What if every experience, every challenge and triumph was chosen by you on a level beyond conscious memory? The world's mystical traditions concur. The second half of life is more than an epilogue. It is the sacred return to your essential purpose, a summit from which you can finally glimpse the hidden contracts guiding your path. Pause for a moment and listen within. Perhaps you sense, as Carl Jung once wrote, that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. What if, far before this body, this personality, you as a soul made choices, agreements, or contracts to explore, heal, and awaken through the alchemy of physical form? In the stories of indigenous elders, these are original instructions, planted as seeds in your spirit long before your first breath. In Vedic philosophy, it is called Dharma, your unique thread in the grand tapestry of existence. You might be sensing the paradox here. If we chose our paths, why does suffering arise? Why the ache, the regret, the grief that accumulates with years? The answer, whispered in temples and science alike, is both humbling and electrifying. The soul, unlike the ego, is not motivated by comfort, but by evolution, a yearning to expand consciousness by journeying through the full spectrum of human experience. What appears as loss may, in deeper light, be initiatory fire, burning away what no longer serves, revealing facets of wisdom that could not emerge in perpetual ease. Consider how this shift in understanding reverberates through your relationship with aging and health. Instead of seeing your body's changes as random breakdowns, what if you saw them as coded messages from your soul? Nudging, guiding, even demanding that you listen, that you slow down, that you excavate meaning from the mundane. The ancient Greeks spoke of daimon, a guiding spirit present from birth, whispering through dreams, intuition, and even through the aches that begin to surface in midlife. In shamanic practice, illness and discomfort are invitations to embark on a vision quest, to retrieve lost parts of the self that await integration, reclamation, wholeness. Let's bring this wisdom down from the clouds. Picture, if you will, the path of your life as an unfolding spiral, each decade offering deeper returns to lessons you may have passed by the first time. Many discover, as their physical form matures, that old ambitions lose their flavor, while long slumbering desires for meaning and contribution awaken. This isn't decline, it's spiritual recalibration. The Kabbalists teach that the soul's purpose is not always obvious at first, but reveals itself over time, especially when the distractions of youth fade, allowing your inner guidance to rise in the quiet. Now imagine your body as the compass for your soul's navigation. Every energetic fluctuation, every moment of synchronicity or sudden knowing, is the soul tapping you on the shoulder, reminding you of the contracts you made. Maybe you have noticed, especially in recent years, how certain patterns repeat, relationships that echo earlier lessons, health challenges that invite you to slow down or awaken compassion, sudden flashes of intuition, painting a new direction. These coincidences are not random. As the mystic Meister Eckhart wrote, when the soul wants to experience something, she throws out an image in front of her and then steps into it. Could the very circumstances of your current life be the soul's creation, your contract with yourself blooming into form right now? This is not to claim the journey is easy. The soul's curriculum is as rigorous as it is radiant. But when you approach difficulties as sacred agreements, the emotional terrain softens. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to inquire, "What is my spirit showing me through this?" The lens shifts from victimhood to authorship, from resignation to revelation. The Persian Sufi poet Hafiz offers, "The place where you are right." Now God circled on a map for you. There is medicine in the very heart of the moment, if you learn to seek it. From this vantage, your body after 50 becomes not a failing machine, but an oracle, a wise elder holding keys to the next phase of your soul's evolution. The Buddhist master Pema Chodron describes how midlife and aging awaken the soft spot, a vulnerable place where the heart opens wider, grief and gratitude mingle, and the soul's true voice can finally be heard above the distractions of earlier life. These transitions, though bittersweet, clear the way for deep spiritual service, healing, and extraordinary fulfillment. But you might ask, how do I know what my soul truly seeks? How do I recognize or fulfill these agreements I made before entering this life? The clues lie within. Notice what draws your spirit, what brings tears of recognition or the energy of longing. Wise traditions say your purpose is written in the things that call you back to yourself, acts of creativity, moments of service, the urge to make peace with the past, to mend old relationships, to finally listen to the voice within that never quieted, even when unheeded for decades. Contemporary spiritual mentors like Caroline Myss have explored how soul contracts can be sensed through the body's subtle messages. A shiver of excitement as you consider a change, a recurring dream nudging you in a new direction, the peace that arrives when you finally surrender to what is calling you. Often, it is in the very challenges you resist that the soul's purpose is hiding, waiting for your courage to finally let go and grow. Let us ground this with an image, a garden blooming after a long winter, old branches breaking, making way for new shoots. Seasons of life after 50 remove what no longer serves, fertilizing the ground for the colors, fragrances, and fruits only you can bring. And just as a seasoned gardener reads the subtle cues of earth and sky, so you are called to listen to your body temple's wisdom and the inner voice guiding you onward. This reveals something astonishing about spiritual evolution in the second half of life. When you honor the contracts inscribed within, life takes on effortless synchronicity. Teachers appear, new communities form, healing accelerates, because you are finally living from the deepest truth of who you are. You are no longer swimming against the current, but surrendering to the river that knows your destination far better than the mind ever could. And here is the ultimate paradox. The farther one travels on the path of soul, the greater the realization that purpose is less about grand achievement and more about presence. The soul's true currency is presence, being awake, vulnerable, loving, available to whatever is arising. Every moment of surrender, every act of forgiveness, every embrace of the now is the fulfillment of your contract. But what if the very symptoms of aging, the tiredness, the aches, the quieter pace, are calling you not to slow down alone, but to finally remember the mission your soul chose for this lifetime? To step beyond fears rooted in youth, to offer your wisdom, your story, your healing presence to a world desperately in need of awakened elders. What you're about to discover next moves this mystery from inspiration into transformation. How do you use this awareness to heal your energy, raise your vibration, and become a conscious channel for renewal in your body, your relationships, your community? The answer unfolds in the next part, where ancient energy practices and modern science reveal how your body temple can be continually restored and reborn, no matter your age. Are you ready to step into the alchemy of energy healing, where timeless wisdom meets living transformation? The door is about to open. Will you walk through? Imagine just for a moment that every breath you take, every thought you think, every sensation thrumming beneath your skin is a note in a grand cosmic symphony. As you move beyond 50, pausing to listen to the subtle music within, you may start to sense it. A gentle vibration, sometimes a hum, sometimes an ache, sometimes a surge of energy after a tearful day or an ecstatic dance. What if these sensations are not meaningless? What if your body is playing the song of your soul's transformation, waiting for you to become the conscious conductor? Many believe healing is simply about fixing what is broken, chasing youth, quelling symptoms. But universal truth, echoed by both ancient mystics and modern healers, reveals a deeper paradox. True healing is not about restoring what was, but about elevating your vibration to a new harmony, one that reflects your soul's evolving purpose. The body, after all, is not separate from spirit. It is, as the Taoist sages said, the mother of transformation, vibrating with the energy of both matter and mystery. You might be sensing an intangible longing. Can this vibrational reality be felt, known, directed, not just in theory, but in the experience of daily life? Let us journey deeper, following the golden thread through traditions, science, and direct experience to uncover the landscape of energy healing and transformation after 50. Consider this. In every wisdom tradition, the body's ability to heal and evolve is woven directly into its energetic nature. In traditional Chinese medicine, the flow of qi determines health. Blockages result in pain, disease, and stagnation, while conscious movement and acupuncture restore harmony. The ancient Indian chakras, swirling wheels of energy, are said to reflect states of consciousness, each one pulsing with potential for release, renewal, and awakening. Health is the flowering of one's own energy, the tantric sages declared. In Christianity, Jesus is described as sensing virtue leaving his body during acts of healing, energy transmitted and received. But is this merely poetic language? Modern science is slowly catching up, discovering that we are beings of frequency as much as chemistry. Dr. Mei-Wan Ho calls the human body a liquid crystal, a vibratory network where signals travel at the speed of light, faster and farther than ever imagined by the old mechanical model. Every cell emits biophotons, tiny pulses of light, communicating with its neighbors in a language of sensation and synchronicity. Even the heart, as proven by HeartMath Institute, broadcasts its electromagnetic signature, entraining others and harmonizing fields at unseen distances. This insight is not only profoundly empowering, it is actionable. Each choice you make can either raise or diminish your vibration, affecting not just your overall sense of well-being, but your immune system, your clarity, your capacity to love and be loved. When you willingly release old emotional patterns, shame, resentment, regret, your body literally vibrates at a different frequency. Dr. David Hawkins mapped this journey, showing that emotions like gratitude, compassion, and awe produce high-frequency coherence in your body's energy field, while chronic fear, anger, and despair create discord, density, and ultimately, disease. Pause and truly feel this. Can you recall a moment when, releasing a burden of grief or forgiving someone deeply, your entire body softened? Did you notice the lightness, the unexplainable lift, as if invisible shackles had fallen away? This is not mere metaphor. This is energy healing in action, a shift in vibration cascading through your physical and subtle bodies, reforming the old song into a new melody. The question naturally arises, how can you harness this force, deliberately, consciously, to heal and transform your life after 50? The answer, as revealed by healers across continents and centuries, lies in learning to attune, to sense, and to guide your energy, much as a musician learns to tune and play their instrument. Start with awareness. Imagine a gentle scan of your body, like running your hand across harp strings. Can you feel tingling, tightness, warmth, flow? What is vibrant? What is dull? These sensations are your language for inner guidance. Practices such as Reiki, healing touch, and therapeutic touch may seem mystical, but they are increasingly validated by research showing they reduce pain, accelerate recovery, and calm both mind and body by rebalancing the biofield. Next, experiment with movement. Dance, Tai Chi, or simple mindful stretching stir up stagnant energy, allowing emotions and old patterns locked in the tissues to be released. Spiritual teacher Gabriel Roth taught, "The body says what words cannot." Feel how movement, even slow and gentle, creates currents of renewal, radiating from joints, through muscles, out into the world. Breath is the ancient wind that fans transformation. Techniques such as pranayama, qigong breathwork, or even deep, coherent breathing can rapidly shift your vibration, sending signals of safety and expansion to every cell. Breath is the horse and mind is the rider, whispers the Upanishads. The more skillful the breathing, the more smoothly you can shift your inner state, redefining your very experience of aging. And don't overlook the power of sound. Mantra, chanting, and even simple humming engage the vagus nerve, regulating the nervous system and producing waves of calm and healing. Neuroscientists are now mapping how sound frequencies resonate with brain waves and cellular response, confirming what shamans and monks have always practiced. That sound can open portals to transformation that mind alone cannot reach. Finally, the ultimate tool of voltage and vibration is pure intention. Energy responds to consciousness. Where focus goes, healing flows. Set intentions charged with gratitude. Speak kindness to your body temple. Envision golden light surrounding the places in pain or vulnerability. In countless studies, the mysterious power of intention, even at a distance, has influenced healing outcomes, whether in the hands of a gentle grandparent, a healer, across the country, or even a community of meditators radiating peace into the world. Now, you might hear the doubts whisper, is it naive to believe that such simple actions can renew what time has worn? Yet the living stories of millions and the quietly mounting research say otherwise. There are those who, after years of chronic pain or isolation, step into practices of energy healing and witness not just relief, but transformation, new friendships, creative inspiration, even deep spiritual realization blooming in the soil of their renewed vibration. This reveals something profound about energy healing and spiritual transformation after 50. Your body is not fated to dim, but designed to evolve, to unfold new frequencies in each season. As the poet John O'Donoghue wrote, "May you awaken to the mystery of being here and enter the quiet immensity of your own presence. You are made to vibrate in harmony with the dance of life, to heal in ways that move beyond the physical into the luminous web that connects all things." But this raises an irresistible question. How do you cultivate these energy practices day by day, weaving them into your routines so seamlessly that healing and transformation become the music of ordinary life? How do you create a living toolkit, drawing from both ancient wisdom and modern science to support your journey as your body evolves? What you're about to discover next will shift energy from theory to daily reality, a powerful array of practices to center mind, body, and spirit, to foster ongoing renewal and to unlock the vibrational gateway to true health, no matter your years. Are you prepared to step into the living temple of your own experience and embrace the spiritual toolkit waiting to make every day a threshold of sacred transformation? The next revelation beckons. Will you answer the call? Imagine waking each morning not with a sense of resignation to another day, but with a gentle exhilaration, a quiet thrill, as if the sacred is waiting for you in each breath, each sip of tea, each sensation in your body. Imagine seeing yourself not as someone managing decline, but as an alchemist with access to a toolkit forged by the wisdom of sages and now affirmed by science. The body, after all, is still your temple, capable not just of endurance, but of subtle, luminous growth. Many believe that age brings only limits, but universal truth reveals that each new stage of life ripens your power to transform, heal, and awaken. And whether you are new to the path or have spent decades as a seeker, you hold in your hands practical tools, timeless and tested, ready to illuminate your journey from the inside out. Are you sensing a call for deeper practice, a longing to not just know, but to live the wisdom you have gathered? Let's now reveal the keys to direct spiritual growth: meditation, mindfulness, and energy work. Each, in its own way, carves a door into your sacred interior, and each harmonizes you once more with the flow of life. Let us begin with meditation, that ancient practice which every wisdom tradition, from Buddhism to Sufism to Christian mysticism, has cherished as the root of awakening. Science, too, has mapped its benefits. Meditative stillness lowers blood pressure, reduces stress hormones, thickens the brain's cortex, and even shifts gene expression. But beyond the statistics lies its deeper gift. Meditation returns you to the eternal now, where your soul's guidance becomes clear. Imagine sitting quietly, eyes closed, following the gentle rhythm of your breath. With each inhale, you invite life. With each exhale, you release what no longer serves. Thoughts may rise, memories, worries, plans, but meditation isn't about silencing the mind. It is about befriending it. The great teacher Thich Nhat Hanh describes this as touching the miracle of being alive. Even 5 minutes a day, perhaps upon waking, perhaps as a sacred pause before bed, can become a royal path into your inner sanctuary. Each quiet moment is a returning and a remembering. What practice feels right for you? Mindfulness meditation, simply witnessing sensations and thoughts. Loving kindness meditation, radiating compassion first to yourself, then outwards like ripples in a pond. Or guided meditations, which help you travel through body, memory, and imagination, releasing tension and kindling renewal. There is no right or wrong. There is only the next step toward presence. The mystics say, start where you are. Next, let's invoke mindfulness, not as a fleeting concept, but as a living art. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully awake to this moment, just as it is. When you walk, really feel your footsteps. When you eat, awaken your senses. Taste, smell, texture, gratitude for the hands that prepared your meal. Even when washing dishes, you can perceive the warm suds, the sound of water, the rhythm of your breath. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki teaches, every moment is a moment for enlightenment. The greatest secret, mindfulness is not something to add to your to-do list. It is a way of coming home to your body temple, moment by moment, wherever you are. With mindfulness, even the routine becomes holy. This, science now reveals, rewires your brain, soothes inflammation and enhances immune response. Each conscious moment translates into resilience and radiance. Energy work too awaits as your ally and guide. This is where spiritual practice becomes sensorial, interactive, and deeply embodied. You may already sense energy moving in your body, tingling in your hands, warmth at your heart, heaviness or lightness in your belly. These are not just feelings, they are messages from the deeper currents of your being. When you pay attention, you start to see energy flows where attention goes. How to work with this energy? Begin simply. Place a hand over your heart, close your eyes and breathe deeply. Imagine a gentle light growing beneath your palm, spreading warmth, dissolving tension, inviting healing. Try 2 minutes, then 5. With time, you may experiment with practices like Reiki, acupressure, or Qigong self-massage, ancient methods now validated by research for balancing the biofield, calming the nerves, and nurturing renewal. Movement is another portal to energy awakening. You need not be an athlete. Gentle yoga, sacred dance, or slow, mindful stretching will stir the rivers within. Consciously invite sensation, breath, and intention to mingle as you move. If you prefer walking, treat your daily stroll as a ritual. With each step, imagine drawing in vitality from the earth and releasing old weight into the soil. In the words of Native American teacher Brooke Medicine, "Eagle, walking upon the earth with love is the highest spiritual practice." If you feel scattered or low, sound provides a powerful tool for vibrational alignment. Hum softly, chant a mantra, or put on sacred music that soothes or uplifts. Notice the feeling, the subtle vibration in your chest, the resonance in your bones. Neuroscientists are confirming what ancient healers always sensed. Sound regulates the nervous system and harmonizes the mind. Breathwork, too, is always at hand. Even in a single minute, you can shift your state. Try the 4-7-8 breath. Inhale to a count of 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Feel how your heart calms, your tension softens as the cascade of new signals reaches your brain and body. Or experiment with alternate nostril breathing, square breathing, or simply breathing deeply into your belly. With each breath, you return to yourself, the sacred gateway that is always open. Let's not forget the subtle but immense power of intention. At the start of each day, or before any practice, set a gentle goal. May I experience peace. May this body be blessed. May my energy be renewed, my mind clear. Over time, as you repeat these inner blessings, you will notice your energy, thoughts, and emotions begin to shape themselves around your intention, like water following the landscape of your consciousness. You might sense an inner skeptic. Can such seemingly simple tools truly restore wholeness, especially now? Listen to the wisdom of those who have walked this path. Countless awakening elders and an ever-growing chorus of scientific voices affirm that as you practice, the seemingly impossible becomes possible. A life of healing, meaning, and joy, not despite, but because of the changes in your body temple. This is the secret. Healing practices are not reserved for monasteries or faraway retreats. They are your birthright, your inheritance, your daily balm. With each meditation, each mindful step, each breath and vibration of sound or energy, you are not only transforming your health, you are opening the door to the world behind the world, where spirit and body are one. And yet, what might happen when these individual practices ripple outward, connecting you with others on the same journey? Can community itself, when freed from dogma, become both sanctuary and amplifier, accelerating awakening for all? The next revelation opens this mystery. What emerges when solitary seekers become a living, breathing web of transformation, changing not only themselves, but the consciousness of humanity itself? What you're about to encounter is the living pulse of spiritual community beyond belief, and the astonishing field of collective awakening ready to greet you. At any age, in any body, wherever you begin. The next secret is not just for your temple alone. Will you step into the circle? Imagine entering a room, real or virtual, where no one asks what you believe, but simply meets you with open eyes and an undefended heart. Where the walls that once divided generation from generation, background from background, quietly dissolve in the shared language of presence, intention, and healing. What if spiritual community, especially after 50, is not about conformity to dogma, but about weaving together the radiance of your lived experience into something larger, something sacred and alive? Many believe spirituality means solitary seeking or belonging to a single tradition, but universal truth reveals a deeper magic. When kindred souls gather, whether in a living room, a garden, or on a living stream of light across continents, an invisible vibration quickens, a resonance is born that lifts everyone higher. Like the roots of ancient forests, the connections between awakened people run deeper than the plain eye can see, nurturing and sustaining through times of both joy and challenge. Pause now and listen within. Are you sensing the quiet ache for belonging, not to a creed but to a tribe of the heart? After 50, when life's old roles may shift or fall away, the longing for authentic connection often intensifies. This is not weakness, but wisdom awakening. The Sufi poet Hafiz wrote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." Across all traditions, the teachings converge. True spiritual community is not about agreement, but about presence, meeting each person and each part of yourself just as they are. This inclusive circle has always existed, though often hidden. The Quakers called it a gathered meeting. Buddhists call it Sangha, a refuge richer than any doctrine. Tribal elders call it the council fire, where stories are medicine and silence is golden. Yet today, science flexes its hand, quietly validating what seekers feel. Human connection, especially spiritual communion, heals not only mind and heart, but the very fabric of the body. Studies show that social support and group meditation reduce inflammation, slow aging at the genetic level, and prime the brain's circuits for empathy and resilience, witnessed even more powerfully later in life. Imagine then joining a circle where meditative silence is just as welcome as laughter, where the deepest truths are shared in stories, smiles, tears, and supporting touch. Picture community not as a place of rigid belief, but as a living field, each presence harmonizing and uplifting the whole. In such circles, wisdom does not flow one way. The gifts of aging, story, presence, humor, depth, are offered generously, not as lectures, but as living nectar sweetening the whole communal cup. Here, spiritual conversation moves beyond debate or prescription. Instead, the shared mysteries are held with reverence and humility. What is truly healing? What patterns ripple through your life? Where does inspiration or intuition arrive? And how can all benefit from one person's awakening? Instead of dogma, you find dialogue, a deep listening that allows synchronicity to play, intuition to lead, and energy to move unimpeded. Have you noticed that even brief encounters with such groups seem to linger, changing your mood, your decisions, your sense of possibility? This is no accident. When souls attune in conscious presence, a collective field emerges, what modern scientists and mystics alike are now calling collective consciousness. This is not fantasy, but field theory. Emotion, intention, even healing signals can be measured, transmitted, amplified. Dean Radin's research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences demonstrates that group meditation can influence the environment, lowering crime, violence, and unrest, even in cities far away. But maybe you wonder, do I need to join a formal group or travel to an ashram to experience this? Can true connection blossom in the digital age, across distance, across time? The answer is a resounding yes. Community is as much a stance as a place, a willingness to show up, listen, reveal your truth, and support the silent awakenings of others. Whether in person or through the miracle of global networks, when hearts join in intention, the A circle forms. And what happens within you when this circle holds you? The philosopher Jean Vanier teaches, community is the place where our limitations and our gifts are revealed and shared. Collective spiritual practice, in meditation or story, chant or service, shines light on lonely places and calls forth hidden talents. It helps you see yourself anew through the compassionate eyes of others. In the warmth of collective consciousness, old wounds soften, and dormant seeds of creativity, forgiveness, and courage begin to bloom. Imagine the ripple. You share your story, and someone, silent until now, feels seen for the first time in years. You witness another's healing, and hope stirs where doubt once lived. The boundaries between my awakening and our awakening blur and dissolve, and the ancient promise whispers through the circle, when two or more are gathered in presence, the sacred is here. This reveals something astonishing about health and spiritual vitality after 50. Community is not just support, it is an amplifier, a multiplier, a container for transformation that carries you further and deeper than you can go alone. Loneliness, it turns out, is not simply emotional pain. It is disconnection from the energy field in which your spirit thrives. Each time you enter a circle of conscious seekers, no matter how small, the field brightens. The waves of healing and inspiration spread through you and out to family, neighborhood, and world. But the journey does not end with belonging. What new realities might emerge when people of all backgrounds, freed from dogma, grounded in practice, united in heart, wake up together? Can the wisdom, courage, and healing you have cultivated in your years be the spark that lights awakening in generations to come? And how does living in this collective field alter the very sense of what is possible in your body, your purpose, your everyday experience? What you're about to witness next will carry you into the heart of human transformation, the lived stories of those who have chosen awakening over resignation and discovered that the body's true miracle is found not in isolation, but in the intimate dance of shared consciousness. The final secret reveals the power of personal stories to ignite collective healing as you step forward, not just for your own journey, but as a luminous thread in the web of human awakening. Are you ready to hear the living testimony of the awakened soul, the embodied wisdom that calls forth your own? The next part awaits, where the story becomes your story and the circle becomes one. Imagine for a moment sitting in quiet company. The lights are dimmed, the space gently hushed, anticipation shimmering like a thread between hearts. Then one voice begins, steady but vulnerable, lifting the veil on an ordinary life transformed by an extraordinary realization. This is where the ancient becomes immediate and the universal becomes intimate, in hearing and sharing the stories of awakening. Many believe spiritual transformation is the privilege of sages, saints, or those who have retreated from the world. But the universal truth is breathtaking in its simplicity. The gates of awakening swing open not in remote caves, but in the turning points of everyday life. Illness, loss, love, solitude, a sudden synchronicity, a persistent ache that demands you listen or change. Each story is a seed of revelation scattered across the second half of life when the heart paradoxically is readiest to break open. Perhaps you can sense the truth of this in your own story. Consider Joan, who at 62 found her long-clenched anger surfacing in the form of mysterious neck pain. Medication and therapy did little, but in one sleepless night, Joan heard a simple inward message: let go. In morning, she sat in the garden, placed a hand on her chest, and with trembling voice forgave a family member she hadn't spoken to in years. The pain eased, but what truly astonished Joan was the sudden sense of lightness, as if a stone altar had been lifted from within. When she later shared this in her meditation circle, others wept, not for her pain, but for the shared recognition. That's happened to me too. Forgiveness, Joan discovered, is vibration released, body healed, and grace made visible. Or Michael, who spent his 50s climbing the rungs of corporate achievement, rarely slowing, always striving. A heart scare at 60 shook everything. Stripped of his old roles and expectations, Michael stood on his porch at dawn, feeling the pulse of fear and the quiet, unexplained solace of the sun rising. One day, almost by accident, he found himself sitting for 10 minutes in silence each morning. The world slowed. Gradually, the silence became welcome, a friend. He felt his blood pressure drop, but more, he noticed a subtle opening in his relationships, deeper laughter, a rekindled creativity. This was not a single bolt of enlightenment, but the steady, accumulating miracle of daily presence. Health returned, yes, but so did wonder. Remember also Lakshmi, who after 55 began to feel her life's work was winding down. She grieved an old sense of purpose. In a dream, her grandmother appeared, beckoning her back to the rituals of her childhood, singing, lighting candles, tending plants. Lakshmi began to weave these small acts into her modern life. One afternoon, helping a local girls' group plant a community garden, she felt tears on her cheeks, unbidden, joyful, the ache of having come full circle. Her sense of contribution and meaning returned, not through ambition, but through service and connection to the earth. I realized, Lakshmi said, my body is the altar. My hands are the blessing. This is where spirit lives. Across traditions, the pattern repeats: a crisis, a slowing, a call to listen to the body's messages at last. The quiet risk of changing habits, forgiving another, or simply showing up again and again in present awareness. And then, the subtle pivot, a release of breath, a softening, a new clarity woven through the fabric of daily life. As the Zen poet Basho wrote, "Barns burnt down, now I can see the moon." Awakening is often preceded by collapse, but what emerges is not emptiness, it is a profound, luminous spaciousness. Sometimes these awakenings come through communal mirrors. Picture Diane, attending her first circle of conscious elders. She was hesitant. What did she have to share? But as she heard others speak vulnerably about grief, purpose, hope, and healing, a warmth blossomed inside. She dared to share her own story of recovery, of loneliness, yes, but also the slow, exquisite discovery of joy in improvised music and spontaneous kitchen dancing. Later, other members confided, "Your courage sparked mine." In being witnessed, Diane felt her temple of selfhood expand. Then there is the phenomenon of sudden, synchronistic moments, those coincidences that feel too orchestrated to be chance. Samuel, nearing 70, began to notice repeated signs: owls in his dreams, stray feathers on his path, chance encounters with strangers who spoke the exact counsel he needed to hear. Trusting his intuition, he made a change long avoided, enrolling in a creative writing class. There he found not only a poetic voice, but a new community. "I used to think the universe was silent," he shared with a smile, "but it was singing all along. I just had to learn its language." Each of these testimonies, though particular, echoes the same spiritual law. Radical transformation is available at every moment for anyone willing to listen, surrender, and act from the soul's deepest nudge. It is never too late. The body, your temple, waits not just for maintenance but for illumination. Aging in this light is not a narrowing, but a flowering, sometimes slow, sometimes abrupt, always sacred. Perhaps you, like these storytellers, have carried wounds or dormant dreams, thinking it too late to shift, to heal, to awaken. But as you listen to these voices, can you sense a quickening within, a seed stirring beneath the surface, called by waters of recognition and hope? Rumi reminds us, the wound is the place where the light enters you. The second half of life is not the twilight, but the hour in which the most exquisite colors burn through. This reveals something profound. Every act of courage, every step into presence, forgiveness, creativity, service, lights a torch not only for yourself, but for all who witness you. Your transformation spirals outward, joining the greater web of collective awakening. In Japanese culture, the concept of ikigai, one's unique reason for being, remains vital at every age. The stories of those who answer this call again and again become blessings on the path for others, proof that renewal is both possible and inevitable. But here perhaps the most luminous paradox of all emerges. The path is never finished. Each healing, each awakening gives rise to new questions, new capacities, new invitations from the soul. After 50, 60, 70 or beyond, the adventure continues, not in defiance of age, but because the temple of your body, supported by community, ritual and spirit, has become the most trustworthy of guides. As you carry these stories within, a final invitation rises, a synthesis, a calling forth. What will you do with the wisdom, the transformative currents, the radiant examples that have now illuminated your way? What mystery still beckons? What new beginning hums within your bones, awaiting your yes? The ultimate secret is this. Your story, exactly as it is already enough, a portal, a blessing, a spark for generations to come. The journey of your body temple does not end here. In truth, it is always beginning. The next step is yours. Will you claim it? What you're about to receive now is not just an ending, but the opening of your own next chapter. A guide to weaving your insights into daily living, an invitation to breathe spirit into each new day, and a reminder that your temple, your story, and your radiant presence are needed now more than ever. Are you ready to embody all you have discovered and step into the sacred adventure awaiting you? Beginning now. Pause for a moment. Breathe gently and allow yourself to fully sense where you are right now, not just in place, but in consciousness. Your journey through your body, your temple, spirituality and health after 50 has led you through ancient wisdom and modern science, through the hidden rivers of energy and the luminous stories of awakened souls. Together, we've traced the arc from universal principles to quantum revelations, from soul contracts and healing practices to the transformative power of community and the bravery of individual testimony. Now let us recognize what's truly unfolded here. Together, we've honored the intricate tapestry of aging, not as a slow unraveling, but as a luminous weaving, a calling inward and outward, downward into the root wisdom of your bones, and upward into the infinite expanse of spirit. Your body, your most immediate temple, was never simply a collection of cells, nor merely a vehicle for experience. It is the meeting point, the radiant crucible, where matter and mystery, history and presence, choice and destiny all converge. Look back and feel the resonance. You have learned that the world's great traditions, yoga, Taoism, indigenous wisdom, mystical Christianity, science-rooted mindfulness and more, agree on this singular truth. There is no split between body and spirit. Each ache, each pulse of pleasure or pain, every breath, every heartbeat are invitations to awakening, portals to soul remembering. The sensations you once thought random now reveal hidden guidance. The energy you once ignored becomes a river of transformation. Your body, after 50, 60, 70 or beyond, is not closing, it's opening, softening into a more honest and tender relationship with life. Throughout this journey, revelations have arrived like ripples. Modern research affirms what elders and mystics have always intuited. The field of consciousness extends beyond the mind, shaping the patterns of aging, vitality, and healing at a molecular level. Collective intention, born in groups, circles, and even silent prayers, literally alters the fabric of personal and shared experience. The heart's field synchronizes with others. Mindfulness and energy work ignite shifts undreamt of by reductionist science just decades ago. All this knowledge becomes real only when embodied, when you live it, breathe it, pass it on from the sanctuary of your lived experience. Now, in this luminous pause, let the synthesis shine through. Your story too matters. This is not philosophy for the privileged few, not a secret reserved for gurus or visionaries. It is a truth lived by those who dare to remain present as the years flow by, who refuse to close the door on possibility. It is your story, a story of aches transmuted into insight, isolation met in community, identity recast in the fire of unapologetic self-compassion and discovery. Your path may hold moments of struggle or bewilderment, but now you know these too are sacred. These too are the cracks by which the light gets in. So let your emotional current rise, not with nostalgia or regret, but with a crescendo of possibility. What does it mean to be alive in this temple, exactly here, exactly now? Imagine each day as a new threshold, each sunrise as a silent choir of the universe calling you to live fully awake in your body, to tend it as the altar it is, to honor its wisdom and steward its vitality with reverence and curiosity. Imagine too that each choice to breathe mindfully, move with intention, rest without guilt, share your gifts or your pain with a circle of kindred souls, is nothing less than an act of devotion, a ripple in the fabric of the world. When you choose to align with healing, to raise your vibration, to forgive, to learn, to begin again, you amplify your light in the greater field of awakening. Many sleep, but you are awakening to the deeper currents of your being, stirring the energy that transforms self and echoes into the world. And what of the journey forward? The next steps are not simply ideas, but living invitations from the universe itself. Begin now to cultivate a practice of meditation, of energy work, of sacred movement, even in just a few minutes daily. Open to mindfulness in mundane moments. Feel your feet on the earth. Listen to the subtle wisdom of your breath. Bless your food with gratitude. Give your body the gift of presence and receive the gift of intuition in return. Join with others, not to conform, but to share and witness, to co-create new traditions that honor body and spirit in every season. Trust synchronicity. Let your curiosities and longings be guides. Journal your journey. Celebrate your progress. Rest when rest is needed, knowing it is holy work. This is your invitation. Imagine how your life transforms as you step into authentic stewardship of your body temple, speaking kindly to yourself, supporting your community by simply showing up as you are, and radiating energy that is felt far beyond what your mind can see. Imagine the ripple effect as you embody your wisdom, not as something to hoard, but to share, inspire, and deepen the evolutionary current of our collective consciousness. You have not arrived at this exact moment by accident. The universe, source, infinite intelligence, whatever name resonates in your soul, has drawn you to this crossroads. Your awakening is not separate from the world's. Your healing is a thread in the quantum web that lifts all beings. Comment below and share. What's one practice or revelation from this journey you're ready to embody? What has your body temple taught you about spirit, healing, or hope? Your voice could be the light that turns someone else's key, the missing note in a sacred song. Let's create together a new era of spiritual community, where awakening is not reserved for the few, but radiates from each of us, through each season of life, in every body temple honoring its own path. Look for our next video as we continue this consciousness journey, revealing more tools, more stories, and deeper explorations of how to live, heal, and awaken together. Finally, let this truth echo through you, amplifying with each breath a lighthouse in your ongoing journey. Allow this truth a moment to resonate in stillness, feel its vibration. Then, when you are ready, step boldly into your next sacred day, knowing that as your body grows in wisdom, your spirit is becoming vast, radiant, and woven into the living heart of awakening itself.